UFC 284 Makhachev versus Volkanovski is happening this weekend. I'm pretty excited for this card, especially the main card. The prelims are a bit iffy, and I feel like this card lost a lot of its value when Robert Whitaker pulled out and Kai Kara France versus Alex Perez fell out. But regardless, I'm very excited for this card, and I'm very excited to break down this card in detail. Really go into my predictions, especially for the main card. I really want to let you guys know how I think Makhachev versus Volkanovski is going to go. And we did do quite bad on Spivak versus Lewis, bro. Look, I didn't care about that card, bro. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about that card. Who the fuck are those guys? I don't give a bollocks. But this card, I'm in it, okay? We're going off this card, boys. Drop a like. We're fucking going off this card, okay? Going down. We're going to go down to the early prelims, alright? I've done my research. I've had a long think about all these fights as much as I can. Okay, we're going to start off with Zubaira Tukhugov versus Elvis Brenner. This was meant to be Joel Alvarez. I was going to pick Joel Alvarez versus Zubaira. I think Zubaira is kind of like in that Abu Bakr level of the Khabib team. He's kind of at the bottom of the barrel of the Khabib team, but I think he gets the job done here against a very short notice opponent, Elvis Brenner. I'm not too familiar with his opponent. I honestly think Zubaira Tukhugov is just more prepared. He's got very good coaching, obviously, and I think he's just going to get this win by a decision or maybe a submission. But honestly, I just see Zubaira Tukhugov getting this one done. I'm not super bothered by the method. I think Zubaira Tukhugov is just far more prepared, far more higher level, far more experienced at the UFC level. He's coming up from featherweight, so the weight cut's probably going to be better for him as well. And yeah, I'm going to pick Zubaira Tukhugov to get that one done. We're going to move on. I'm going to get through these early prelims quite quickly. I've got a lot to say. Okay. Featherweight bout, we've got Shane Young back in the UFC versus Blake Builder, debuting in the UFC. I usually pick the guy with the photo, but I'm gonna pick Blake Builder here, undefeated. Um, a bit of a shorter guy, but Shane Young is just not that good in my opinion. He's a bit chinny. I think he's been done a favor here by CKB, by Adesanya. A lot of people kind of agree that it's kind of like does he really deserve to be back in the UFC after a couple of his losses? I just see Blake Builder getting this one done with a KO in round one or round two, and kind of shocking the crowd because I think they're gonna be behind Shane Young here, and obviously the commentary is gonna be behind Shane Young because of his connections to Adesanya. But I think Blake Builder is gonna find a sneaky win in this one, and it's tough to pick, but yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Blake Builder by KO. We move on to Loma Lookbonmi versus Elise Reed in the women's strawweight division. I'm gonna lean with the odds here. I'm gonna go with Loma Lookbonmi to win this fight by decision. I think she's just better than Elise Reed everywhere. Elise Reed's last fight was pretty good. I did see that, but at the same time, I think Loma Lookbonmi is just a level up. So I'm gonna go with her. And you know me, bro. I fucking love Thailand, man. So I'm always gonna lean with the Thais, bro. She's definitely a strawweight to kind of look out for in this division, especially against an opponent like Elise Reed. So I think you'd be stupid to not pick her. So I'm gonna pick Loma to win this fight by decision, probably. Moving on to the early prelim headliner, Jack Jenkins versus Don Shainis in the featherweight division. I'm going Jack Jenkins round two TKO all fucking day, bro. Okay, Jack Jenkins' counter grappling is very good. He's gonna stuff takedowns. He's gonna be pushed up against the fence. His cardio is gonna be there, and his Muay Thai is gonna get this one done for him. I think he's gonna settle into the fight quite well. He might get cracked a bit early with some stuff he's not expecting. Bit of that adrenaline dump from the crowd, and then I think round two he's going to settle in. He's going to find his knees in the clinch and hurt Don Chanis with those, and then I can see him finding a TKO with the hands, dropping him and finishing him on the ground. So I'm going to go with Jack Jenkins by round two TKO. His pressure, his pace, he's got really good knees up close. If Chanis tries to grapple, it's going to go bad for him, I think. And Jack Jenkins is definitely a prospect to look out for at featherweight. I think Jack Jenkins is going to hurt him in the clinch, and then drop him with the hands and finish him on the ground. That's my prediction for this fight. Jack Jenkins round 2 TKO or maybe a round 3 KO. But yeah, I'm very excited for Jack Jenkins to fight on this card. I'm very excited to watch him fight, okay? Moving on into the lightweight division. Jamie Malaki versus Francisco Prado. I think Prado is like a short notice replacement opponent, I believe. I could be wrong. But yeah, I think Jamie Malaki is going to get this one done by a KO in round two or round one. He's going to just be more experienced. He's a very tough guy. He's going to have the crowd behind him. I don't know if Prado's been at this level. I really don't think he's going to be ready for the level and for a tough guy like Jamie Malaki. I mean, look how close he was against Michael Johnson. Don't care if you thought he lost that fight or not. I mean, like, it was still a close fight, and Michael Johnson's no slouch at lightweight. Especially at the moment, he seems to be doing quite well. So I just have to lead towards Jamie Mullarkey with his experience. He's beat some good guys at lightweight. He's a tough guy. He's one of those guys you run into that's never going to give up. He's always going to be trying to fight you. He's always going to be coming to finish you. And I think Jamie Mullarkey will find a finish in round one or round two with the pressure and with his striking because his power is quite good, especially at lightweight. So Jamie Mullarkey, round one or round two TKO. I see a lot of finishes happening on this card, and a lot of the Aussies are going to get these ones done. All right, moving on into the flyweight division, we've got Shannon Ross coming off Contender Series versus Clayton Rodriguez. I'm going to go with Clayton Rodriguez by KO. Um, or maybe he hurts him and then gets a submission. But I think Clayton Rodriguez is the real deal at flyweight compared to Shannon Ross, who's coming off a loss, I believe, on the Contender Series. The crowd's going to be behind him. That may impact it in some way because it genuinely does. But I'm going to go with Clayton Rodriguez. I think he's just better. He's probably more ready for this fight, more ready for the occasion, and definitely just skill for skill. I think Clayton Rodriguez has every tool to get this done. Whereas I'm a bit uncertain about Shannon Ross, so I think the grappling is going to be a question mark. The striking of Clayton Rodriguez is going to give him problems. I think Clayton Rodriguez is going to hurt him on the feet. Round one or round two and knock him out and finish him on the ground. So I see a TKO here for Clayton Rodriguez in those first two rounds. Moving on into the featherweight division, we've got another Australian. We've got Josh Kulabau versus Melsik Bagdasaryan. Now Josh Kulabau's got some good wins in the UFC. Um, I think one of his fights was a bit of a robbery, but look, Josh Kulabau's good. I think uh, Melsik Bagdasaryan's going to be a tougher fight for him than usual because he's quite patient. He's not going to rush in. He's not going to get caught with anything stupid. I think this is going to be a bit of a point fighting match. I don't see a finish happening in this fight. If it does, I would lean towards Kulabau. If there's a finish, it's because of Kulabau. However, I think it's going to go to a decision, and I'm going to pick Josh Kulabau to win this by robbery decision. I think I can just see this being way too close, way too hard to pick. I think both of these guys are going to end up point fighting just because of how Bagdasaryan likes to fight. And I think that the judges are going to lean towards Josh Kulabau. I think he's going to have bigger moments when they do exchange. Um, I think Bagdasaryan's going to have more volume, but I think Josh Kulabau is going to have more moments, and I think he's going to get the win here in his home crowd and be given the win by the judges. So maybe he does get it done with some exchanges, but I see this being similar to kind of like Calvin Kattar, Josh Emmett kind of decision where Josh Kulabau has the bigger moments. But if you look at the actual numbers and you look at the volume, I think Bagdasaryan's going to do quite well on the feet against him. And yeah, I'm going to lean towards Josh Kulabau by decision. Okay. The prelim headliner, we've got Tyson Pedro versus a returning to the UFC, Modestas Bukauskas. I'm very excited to see him back in the UFC. I was very sad when he got cut. He's bounced back with some wins in Cage Warriors, I believe. He's back in the UFC on short notice. I think the short notice is going to mess him up here. I think he's a much better test for Tyson Pedro than the opponent he was meant to have. Um, he's got a bit more name value at light heavyweight. He's had some good fights against guys like Khalil Roundtree, and I believe he's fought Jimmy Crute as well. So I'm gonna still lean with Tyson Pedro by round two TKO here. I think Bukowskis is gonna be a little bit more patient. I think he's gonna try and find a KO early, and maybe he'll have a good moment against Tyson Pedro. But I think Tyson Pedro is just gonna have the momentum behind him, have the crowd behind him. His body kicks will be there for him. His leg kicks will really be there for him against Bukowskis. And I see him setting up those body kicks, maybe dropping him with a body kick and then finishing him on the ground when he tries to wrestle, or hurting him with the leg kicks and then the hands come, similar to kind of what what's his name, Taito Ivasa kind of did to Harry Hunsucker. I see something similar to that, maybe like an inside leg kick wobbles him and then boom, right hand behind the ear kind of drops him. And I see a round two TKO for Tyson Pedro in this win, but I'm very happy Bukowskis is in the UFC again. I think he's a tougher test for Pedro than the opponent he was meant to have. So I'm excited about that, bro. But yeah, I see Tyson Pedro round two TKO, hurts him with the leg kicks or hurts him with the body kick, and then finishes him with the hands. Okay. We move on to the main card. Okay, now I'm getting into it. All right. We've got Jimmy Crute returning from his loss to Jamal Hill, taking on Alonzo Menafield, who's on a bit of a streak at the moment. Alonzo Menafield's a slight underdog. I understand that Jimmy Crute's ranked. He's had tough fights. He's fought Anthony Smith, Jamal Hill. Um, I'm missing some people. He's lost to some guys that were ranked as well, like Misha Serkinov. Not that good of a loss to have, but Jimmy Crute's a big guy. He's an explosive guy. He's got good power and he's got very underrated grappling. And I think in this matchup, he's going to try and lean on the grappling. I think he doesn't want to get knocked out again. I think Jimmy Crute's all in. He's focused. He wants to use his whole skill set. And I see Jimmy Crute trying to grapple. Like comes her out straight away, tries to clinch, tries to put him against the fence, tries to use his judo. He trains with really good guys. Um, I see him investing with body shots, trying to slow down Menafield so he can finish him later in the fight. But I think Menafield's going to catch him in an exchange, and I think he's going to drop him. And I think that's going to switch the momentum completely. And I'm going to pick Alonzo Menafield by round 2 or round 3 KO. I think Jimmy Crute will do quite well, but I think the power difference is big, is a big problem, and especially when you're coming off a really bad knockout like that. Alonzo Menafield is not a bounce back fight that you want. You know, Alonzo Menafield when he lost to OSP, got faceplant KO'd. He came back against Fabio Charant. You know what I mean? Fabio Charant basically is just there to lose to people at light heavyweight. So I think he could have got a bounce back fight that was a bit easier. I understand that he's out of the rank. He's ranked, so it's a bit harder to give him a bounce back fight. But man, Menafield is not the bounce back fight that you want. You know what I mean? I think Menafield's got too much power. He's a big explosive guy for light heavyweight. He's a bit on the shorter side, which may benefit Jimmy Crute with his boxing, but I don't see Crute trying to box. I see him trying to get close, trying to grapple, use his whole skill set. Maybe he gets some takedowns early on and threatens some subs, but I see just Menafield catching him in a few exchanges and then dropping him, and Jimmy Crute just unable to recover and just being too tough for his own good and getting finished. Round 2 or round 3, but I think Jimmy Crute will do well in the grappling if he takes it there. I can see a path to victory for him. I'm not super confident in this pick, but I just have a feeling that Alonzo Menafield's going to spoil this return for Jimmy Crute. Because that chin got cracked bad, bro. He got cracked real bad by Jamal Hill. And Alonzo Menafield's a tough matchup to come back to. So I'm going to go with Alonzo Menafield by round 2 or round 3 KO. And that's my pick. All right, moving on into the heavyweight division. Close fight here in terms of the odds. We've got Justin Tafa versus Parker Porter. Not really much to say. I think Justin Tafa is going to win this fight by KO. I think Parker Porter is a big tough guy at heavyweight. There's a lot of those guys. He's in that kind of Jared Vandera, Chase Sherman kind of territory for me. You know, he could win, but I don't really see a specific way that he's going to get this one done. Um, I think Justin Tafa has a very clear path to victory. Leg kicks, um, and looking for those hooks, looking for those uppercuts. He's got a nasty uppercut. If Parker Porter tries to grapple and he's careless, he will get KO'd with an uppercut. I think Justin Tafa will be a lot more patient and kind of take like a Tyson Pedro approach because he got knocked out pretty bad against forgetting his name, Jorgen De Castro. Um, so I think he'll take a bit more of a patient approach. That uppercut will definitely be there for him. He likes the uppercut. He's going to look for the uppercut. He's going to try and grab the clinch and hit those uppercuts as well. And if he connects with those, Parker Porter's going down. I just see too many ways for Justin Tafa to finish this fight. You know what I mean? I don't see as many ways for Parker Porter to finish it. Obviously, at heavyweight, anything can happen. You always have to say that stuff. But I do think that there's just more ways for Justin Tafa to win this fight by KO. And he has the leg kicks in his game. He has a decent kickboxing game, especially for a heavyweight. So I just see more tools on the feet for Justin Tafa. I don't really see it going to the ground. Justin Tafa trains with some good guys. But yeah, I think the uppercut will be there for him, and I think the hooks will be there, and the leg kicks will be there, especially the inside leg kicks. And I just see a round 1 or round 2 knockout for Justin Tafa and just catching Parker Porter with too many punches and just dropping him and finishing him. So I think that'll be that. And Justin Tafa can go 3 hard rounds as well if he needs to. So just more ways for Tafa to win, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with Justin Tafa by round 1 or round 2 KO. Okay, moving on to our featured fight. I'm so excited for this fight. Jack Della Maddalena versus Randy Rude Boy Brown. This is a big step up for Jack Della Maddalena. I'm very excited to see how he does. He's pretty much passed every test in the UFC with flying colors. I think Randy Brown's going to be a good test for him, but this is the story of every Jack Della Maddalena fight. I think he's going to lose the first round against Randy Brown. I think Randy Brown's going to have a good game plan for him early on. But I think JDM's going to find his openings and he's going to break him down, and then round 2 he's going to finish him. I'm going with Jack Della Maddalena by a round 2 knockout. I think he's going to lose round 1 because Randy Brown is going to threaten knees up the middle and kind of keep him at bay from the boxing. He's going to mix in the takedown. I think I can see him taking down Jack Della Maddalena because he did it against Luque. He does it against a lot of guys that he doesn't want to stand with. He does have that in his bag. He does have it in his arsenal. I think Randy Brown's going to take him down. He'll control him for most of the round. I think he'll win round 1 off a takedown. But then Jack Della Maddalena is going to get back up. He's going to come on strong at the end of the first round, and if he doesn't hurt him at the end of the first round, he will hurt him in the second round. The leg kicks will be there all day for him. His team's probably telling him that. He's gonna mix up the leg kicks. He's gonna go for the body shots that are gonna hurt Randy Brown, and then I think I can see him catching him like left hook overhand and just dropping Randy Brown to the ground and finishing him with with ground and pound. Um, but I think it's going to be like most Jack Della Maddalena fights. He's going to struggle early on. His opponent's going to have something in the bag for him. Maybe a good jab. Maybe the takedown will be there for Randy Brown as well. Maybe some knees, some front kicks. He's going to try and keep Jack Della Maddalena at like a kicking range. But I can see Jack slipping, getting on the inside, finding body shots that really hurt Randy Brown. He might finish him with a body shot. But I think he's going to weather the storm early. He's going to find his leg kicks that really bust up Randy Brown and stop his movement, and then he's going to find body shots on the inside, find hooks. I can see him slipping and hitting a left hook when Randy Brown thinks he's going to the body and dropping him bad. Yeah, I just think Jack Del Medellin is going to do what he always does and get a round two knockout against Randy Brown and finish him in front of the home crowd, uh, and be on to bigger and better things. He's really, really a good prospect, and I'm very, very excited to see him have this fight. He's got the survivability, he's got momentum, he's got the power. I think he's going to figure out Randy Brown with leg kicks and with the body shots and then come up top with those hooks like he always does. That's my final prediction. Jack Della Maddalena, round 2 KO, okay? Moving on to the interim featherweight title bout, we've got Yair Rodriguez versus Josh Emmett, two of the most undeserving title fighters of all fucking time. Yair Rodriguez's last win was an injury, so was Josh Emmett's. Like Jesus, bro. What are we doing, UFC? What the fuck are we doing, bro? What are we doing with these two? Like, why is this a fight? But anyways, look, okay, it's happening. I'm gonna break it down. I've got Yair Rodriguez to win this fight by decision, um, or maybe by a KO, round 3 or round 4 KO. But this is my thoughts on it. I think Yair is gonna be scared of Emmett early on. I think he's gonna try and punch away from him like he did against Stevens. So he's gonna be punching with his head back. He's gonna be leaning away. He's gonna be running on his bike a lot. He's going to try and keep Emmett at bay and not be in his reach whatsoever. I think Emmett's going to try and exchange those leg kicks early. I think he's going to be hunting for body shots as well on Yair because they're always going to be there. He's going to have success kind of trading leg kicks, but I think Yair's will be more damaging. Um, but yeah, Yair's leg kicks are really gonna do some damage. He's gonna have those stabbing oblique kicks as well against Josh, and Josh Emmett tore his knee against Shane Burgos. He got busted up and pretty bad by Calvin Kattar as well when he tried to come in with elbows. I can see those being there for Yair, but I think he's gonna try and grapple with Emmett early as well and kind of test out his strength. He's got kind of sneaky takedowns. He's got those Brian Ortega kind of body lock trip takedowns. Um, but I think he's either going to be all the way in clinching Emmett or he's going to be all the way out at kicking range. I don't think he wants to be anywhere near his hands. He may be on his bike a lot, and Emmett's going to chase him down and try and, you know, hit him to the body a lot. He's going to be looking for those body shots. He's going to be looking for body kicks as well on Yair, which may do him well. And he might catch him off the clinch as well. I can definitely see Yair trying to break the clinch with his hands down, and Josh Emmett just cracks him, maybe hurts him in one round. But ultimately, um, I don't see Emmett going to the wrestling. I don't see Emmett going to his wrestling, and if he does, I think he's expecting an immediate submission threat if he tries to take down Yair. You know what I mean? I can definitely see Emmett kind of feinting the takedowns to kind of come for his overhand, but I think Yair is going to get hit the most trading with Josh Emmett because he does like to trade. He even with Max Holloway, he'll hit you and then he'll stand there with his hands down. I can see it being a bit of a dog fight in stages, but ultimately I think the leg kicks, the head movement of Yair, the body kicks are going to be there. His front kicks to the face are really going to be there. Those stabbing oblique kicks. I think ultimately his kicking game is going to save him and is going to win him a close decision against Josh Emmett. Or maybe he finds a round 3 or round 4 KO with those front kicks to the face or, flying knees. Because he's going to be aggressive towards Josh Emmett when he's chasing him down. I think he'll get chased down early and then he'll try and pull Emmett into doing it and then jump at him with the front kick or jump at him with the stabbing legs to the knee or, knees to the head. Ultimately, I think just Yair has way more tools. His kicking game is just going to be what does it for him. And I'm going to go with Yair Rodriguez to win this fight with all of those tools considered. Um, should be a good fight. I think it's a closer than people might think. The odds are pretty respectful. as they should be. I think Josh Emmett is quite underrated, honestly, and his chances against Yair are there. He always has a chance with that power. And especially off the clinch. And when Yair leans back instead of putting his hands up, he just leans straight back. I can see Josh Emmett just following through with a big right hand and dropping him. But ultimately, I'm gonna go with Yair Rodriguez by decision, just because of his kicking game, his oblique kicks. Those front kicks to the face will definitely be there. He's gonna be playing like a UFC 4 fighter out there, bruh. He's gonna be spamming them front kicks. He's gonna be holding RB and X all fucking night. And yeah, I'm gonna go with Yair Rodriguez to win this fight. All right. Main event time: Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. I'm gonna assume Islam is the favorite. Um, I think here's what I'll say. MMA Guru's breakdown on this fight was interesting to me, but I don't see it. I don't see Alexander Volkanovski going forward, leading with his head at all. I don't see him trying to go after Islam Makhachev and chase him. I think after watching that Charles Oliveira fight, why would you ever do that? I think Alexander Volkanovski's fight IQ and his coaching is so good. There's no way he's going to be rushing after Islam. Even if he's down, I don't think he will. I think he's going to stick to a game plan. And I think that game plan is going to be being way out of range. I think you're going to see Volkanovski come out, and he's going to be at like leg kicking range at most. Okay, I think he's going to be very hard for Islam to reach early. He's going to try and make Islam come to him. Okay, I can definitely see him taking like a Justin Gaethje patient approach, in terms of staying just out of range so that you have to make a move, and it's very obvious what you want. Right? You can't clinch someone out at kicking range. You just can't do it. Islam's best chance is going to be catching kicks. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I think the kicks of Volkanovski will be there. Um, for both of those guys, actually, I think he'll be there for both of those guys. I think Islam will land some good leg kicks. He might land some good jabs, but I think Volkanovski's gonna smash him with those inside leg kicks. He's gonna feint his kicks like a lot and then double it up. So he's gonna fake the kick and then kick him on the outside, kick him on the inside. I think the inside kick will be what he looks for more than the outside. Just harder to catch, really. Lower risk, more reward over time, especially with feinting to get that power. Um, it's not going to do much, but I think he's going to try and score points. I think he wants to point fight in this fight. That's why I say I don't see him coming in. I don't see him leaning with his head like he did against Max, like he did against Brian Ortega. I don't see him wanting to be close. Um, I see Islam biting on a lot of feints as well and overreacting with big punches or kicks early, and making Volk look good, like avoiding those with his speed. But um, I don't see many punches from Volkanovski. I see head kicks. I see maybe jabs if he can reach them, but if he misses, he's going to be straight out of there when he's done. I think he's going to be extremely patient, extremely disciplined. I think he's going to be kicking like 80% of the time compared to punching. I really do. I think he's going to be um, looking for those feints of the kicks and trying to throw head kicks, um, trying to avoid the straight punches of Islam because he's very good with those. He's got a very good jab. He's very good with the hooks and the straight punches. He's a lot more measured than Khabib. He's got great footwork as well. I think he'll be able to move around with Volkanovski a lot better than most of his opponents. I don't think he'll be pulled into any shots. I don't think he'll get cornered anywhere. Um, but I think he'll also have a tough time tracking down Volk and pinning him somewhere as well. He's going to have to rush him if he wants to get him close. If he wants to get the clinch and look for his judo, look for his sweeps, he's going to have to come in. And that's what Volkanovski's hoping for. I think that's going to be his whole game plan, honestly. And in that game plan, I can see him accepting good leg kicks from Islam. I can see him accepting getting head kicked by Islam, blocking it. I can see him accepting getting hit with an overhand or trying to get out of the way, you know what I mean? And I think both of these guys will be very defensively locked in as well. Um, I see Islam. Yeah, I see Islam doing quite well in the feet, but I think Volkanovski will beat him and try and point fight him. I think that's his strategy ultimately: is point fight, get back up if you get taken down, keep point fighting. Don't pressure. Let him come to you so you can see those takedowns more clearly. As for the grappling, now we're talking about the grappling, okay? I don't see Islam going for double legs out in the open. I don't see that at all. I see him needing the clinch. I see him needing that body lock to try and lift those shoulders up and really use his height, um, really lift him off his feet. I think out in the open, it'll be very hard for him to put Volk against the fence with his footwork or even with his striking. I think Volk will just evade him with his striking. I think he's going to be really, really hard to hit. Um, as opposed to other guys that he's fought that he could hit pretty easily and then put him against the cage and boom, take him down, even with the clinch. I think he's gonna have to. I think he's gonna go for the single leg. I see the single leg. I see the. I see him catching kicks and sweeping Volk to get him down. I see him just blasting a single leg and just lifting, elevating him and sweeping that leg out. Kind of like he did. Kind of we've seen him do similar stuff before. Um, yeah, so I think that's where he'll take him down. I think his other takedowns in his arsenal will not really be there for him against Volk. I can see the clinch going well for him. Those inside trips, those outside trips going well for him, but holding down Volkanovski is going to be very hard. I think he's going to be underrated. However, I think positionally he's going to give up some bad spots if he gets taken down in certain ways. And I think that Islam Makhachev is going to win this fight in round two or round three. Sorry, round one or round two by submission. I think he's going to look for that single leg or he's going to catch a kick. He's going to sweep out Volkanovski's legs. Other leg that he's trying to balance on. He's going to use his height and really elevate Volkanovski off the ground. Sweep out that leg. And I can see Volkanovski giving up his back really quickly to try and get back up. And that's where Islam will get a hold of him. I think Islam will end up on the single leg. Like I said, elevating that leg, sweeping it. Volkanovski lands, tries to get back up. Islam takes the back, pulls him to the ground. He gets on his back. And I think he's going to find a crank or he's going to find a rear naked choke. Um, and end up finishing him with one of those two, neck crank or a choke. If it's a proper choke, I don't think Volk's gonna tap. But if it's a crank, he'll tap and he'll be very very respectful in defeat. So my prediction is round one or round two submission for Islam Makhachev. I don't give a fuck, bro. I love Volkanovski. You know me. I'm Australian, bro. I fucking love Volk. All right. You's picking me to lose. All right, it's okay. Just don't pick me to lose against fucking Yair Rodriguez. Oh, he picked me to lose that as well. What the fuck's with this guy? That's Volk finding out my fucking videos. But dude, yeah, I see round one or round two for Islam. I think Volkanovski will do very good early on with the leg kicks, especially the head kicks will be there. I don't see him getting caught with anything by Islam, except for some leg kicks, some calf kicks, maybe some jabs. But I think ultimately in the striking he will win. But that single leg or catching a kick will be there for Islam. I can just see him sweeping out that bottom leg and Volk kind of turning with it to try and get straight back up. And Islam just jumps on him and gets his back, drags him back down, gets his back, and locks up a nasty rear naked choke or maybe a neck crank and gets the tap. So I think Islam's going to get this one done quite early. I don't see this going very long. I don't see this going to a decision. A lot of people are kind of banking on that. I just don't see it. I just don't see this fight going very long. I think these two skill, it's only a matter of time before Islam finishes him, in my opinion. So I think Islam's going to get this one done in round one or round two and really silence this crowd, really silence a lot of his haters as well. So Islam round one, round two submission with the rear naked choke, with the crank. I can see it. I can see it clear as day. And Volkanovski will be very respectful in his defeat. It's going to be a good fight regardless. I think he'll have his moments, but yeah, I just think Islam's just too big and too good. So that's my picks. Those are my predictions. Let me know what you think down below, boys. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Give me your picks down below. If you enjoyed the video, if you like the longer videos, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I'm going to be doing more of these, especially for pay-per-views. And yeah, follow me on Instagram at Bedtime MMA. I'll see you in the next video, boys. Goodbye.